high exposure in Reliance Industries alone. I have not taken the other stocks. I just taken only Reliance Industries. If you take the funds, most of these funds, the last 1 year, have underperformed the market. Okay. And as I told you, we see Nifty 50 has also underperformed. I just want you to look at another parameter, that is Nifty next 50. Nifty next 50 is normally what we don't see, right? In the 1 year time frame, the pink line is Nifty 50, right? The second chart on the right. And Nifty next 50 is the one below that. It has actually underperformed Nifty 50. On a 5-year basis, on a 10-year basis, you can always see Nifty next 50 has actually outperformed Nifty 50, right? And we all know that most of the active large cap funds are finding it very difficult to beat the benchmark, right? So in that context, if you consider by looking differently at Nifty next 50, then probably you have a good proposition for your investors. Yes, the payout in Nifty next 50 will be lower. Obviously, compared to an active fund, this is an ETF, so obviously it will be lower. But look at a larger picture. If you are able to offer a solution like this, probably the customer will be very happy, can invest more or bring more clients. This is another example of our receiving. What we see is what we get. This is the gold chart, right? Gold chart in the last 5 years. You have seen how steep it is. And all of us know this. And what we don't know is there are 2 jewelry companies, Titan and Kalyan Jewellers, right? Titan, the last 5 years, is the pink line what you see, right? Kalyan Jewellers, see how much it has gone. It was 60 rupees before COVID, okay? It went up to 800 rupees and now it is around 500 rupees. See this fund. Motilal Oswal is holding large quantities of Kalyan Jewellers, okay? In fact, when the stock reached around 790 in February, when it was low, they actually sold it and they rebought it again, okay? Because of this type of things they are doing, most of their funds are performing much better, right? So you must understand why a fund is performing better, what are they doing slightly differently. Therefore, we can have a approach, oh, these are the funds which are doing well, and I'll come to this a little later, okay? Second, IT companies. Most of the IT companies are not doing well. Infosys, TCS, HCL, you name it, all large cap IT companies are not doing very well. But in the same group, there are different companies which are doing much better, right? You can see companies like Sirma, Eternal, Policy Bazaar is very flat, okay? Then you have Coforge. They've been doing very well actually, right? So if you are looking at all these things, then you need to decide which fund you can offer to your client, okay? Instead of just going through a normal IT fund, if you can offer a digital fund, okay, then probably you will have a win-win situation, right? So I'm just giving you some different way of thinking on what you can offer to your clients. I'm only taking the route of the key I mentioned earlier, the equity portion of it, so that you can actually convince the customer. Normally, customer will listen. There is no customer who doesn't talk about equity when you start pitching your products, okay? Everybody is interested in the market, everybody is interested in shares. So therefore, this is another way of doing it. Okay. Now, generally, when any new idea comes, there is lot of hype in the market, right? When electric vehicle was started, there was lot of hype in the market, right? And everybody had their own ideas. So somebody said, electric vehicle is nothing but battery, right? You buy a good battery company, you will make tons of money. So people recommended Excite batteries, Amar Raja batteries, right? But a different battery company outperformed all these things. Similarly, in cars, Mahindra and Mahindra, Tata Motors, these automobile companies will do when the EV comes into picture. But a related company did much better. This is the comparison of Amar Raja, Excite, and the other companies, HBL Engineering. Okay? HBL Engineering, earlier it was HBL Power. See the steepness. See the growth it has given. And that is the only company in India which is exporting batteries. Okay? Almost close to 20% of their exports is in batteries, right? So that's the company which has outperformed very well. So a fund which has got all these stocks can obviously perform very well. And compared to your automobile companies, you have KPIT. KPIT Technologies, everybody calls it as a IT company. In my opinion, it is not at all an IT company. It is nothing but an automobile company. It is the one which talks between the hardware and integrates with all the components. See the steepness with which KPIT is given. They claim they are to be in case mobility. What is case mobility? Anybody can tell? Case mobility is nothing but connected, autonomous, shared electric mobility. Right? And look at funds which are having this. Canada has got 833 crores of investment in KPIT Technologies. You have Motilal Oswal also having invested about 357 in their mid-cap. Okay. The next one is a small company, which is the HBL Power, what I am mentioning is a very, very small company. So therefore, very small portions is only getting invested in that. Of course, if you look at a small cap portfolio, most of the companies have 90 stocks, 100 stocks. So obviously, the percentage of contribution and holding what they have will be very, very less. What you see is what everybody sees, right? Suppose there is a news in the paper. You also see it, I also see it. And the way you think and what I think will be very, very different. So you need to be very clear about that. Now, the recent hype in the market is GST. GST reforms, right? Everybody says GST, 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 and these are the stocks which will do very well, right? And all AMCs are sending us a lot of mails. I'm sure each of you would have got at least 25, 30 mails. Which sector will do very well? And the standard answer is consumption, auto, consumer discretionary. These are the things which will do very well. What will do very well? I also don't know. Okay. But we need to be very, very clear about that. Yesterday, Maruti had a press conference. First time they are having a press conference to tell that they are reducing the prices from September 22nd. Have you ever seen a press conference where they are increasing the prices? Prices are increased just by a circular. They'll send, in fact, you don't even know. You go to the dealer will say, yeah, the price is increased from yesterday. Why they want to do is they want to show solidarity with the government, saying that, yes, we are also participating in the economic growth of the country. We want to pass on the benefits to the customers, right? And from 22nd onwards, the prices are cut anywhere between 25,000 rupees to close to 2 lakh rupees, the price is cut, right? What these people will do is, come December, they will change one mirror or they will change the direction of the mirror, make it as a new version and start increasing the price from January onwards. That time is the best time to buy Maruti. Okay, so this is how it happens. So, how do we develop to understand what is happening and what we can do to learn from this? Okay, you can actually identify a fund based on a theme selection. For example, if you are looking at some defense companies, you are looking at some other sectors like consumer dictionary or some digital companies, you can actually identify these companies and probably go for funds which are investing in this company. Nowadays, the thing is that in IPO, most of the funds are anchor investors. They get firm allotment, and many funds do well more because of their investment in IPO than the other stocks in the fund itself. Okay. Spend some time analyzing the portfolio of the company, of the scheme what you are going to invest. I think every month all AMCs are giving a portfolio disclosure. I don't know how many of you take time to go through the portfolio disclosure. At least on the schemes which you are giving to your customers, try to go through the portfolio and understand. Okay. Relate it with the performance. You can over time figure the risk and get much better returns. Okay. Incidentally, Motilal Oswal is here. Every month they have a meeting. Okay. They talk about the various schemes and other things. And their chief investment officer, Mr. Niket Shah. Even today, they have a lot of conviction on the Kalyan Jewellers, what I am talking. They are still holding the highest weightage in their portfolio. Okay. Before Mr. Niket Shah took over, probably most of the funds were not doing well. Now, I think most of the funds in their category are doing very well. I'm not here promoting Motilal Oswal, but I'm just telling a matter of fact. Okay. You must understand, they are very, very aggressive. Their cash holding in the funds is very, very little. They have deployed it in the opportunity which they got in February, March. Okay. So you must be able to understand, attend such meetings, gain insights. Then only we will be able to pitch the thing. Tomorrow, if Mr. Niket Shah is not in Motilal Oswal, I don't know whether this fund will perform the same way. Then you must be very clear, this is the time over. In fact, they have a new manager from another AMC. Okay. The person who joined and that fund is not doing well. So you must be able to track that also, right? So it is very important for you to understand all these things. You need to figure it out, okay? And whichever meetings are possible for you, you try to attend, get a lot of insights, okay? Giving a fund is the easiest thing you can do to the customer. But first what you need to do is, you need to get conviction. What I am giving to my client, does he need it? Does it suit his risk profile? And will this fund perform and meet the objectives? Okay. We are not talking about 20, 25% and other things. If you are expecting 12%, 15%, whatever it is, you see whether the fund what you are offering is fitting into that. Okay. So basically, you can also be a visionary. Why only Mr. Niket Shah has to have all the visionary things? You can also become visionary. You have to read a lot. Okay? And you need to understand. You need to understand in the proper way. Right? Like I told you, you also see the same item, I also see the same item. How we see, that only will decide what you will get, what I will get. And infer from what you have understood and then act. Okay? If you are able to see things what others don't see before they see, then you have a multi-bagger in your hands. இது விசி டயலாக் மாதிரி இருக்கும். But you must be able to see much earlier before others see the same thing. Then you have a winner in your hands. Okay. This is an advertisement. How many of you have seen this advertisement? You have seen this. Very nice. Okay. This is an advertisement about Embraer. Who's Embraer? Yeah, Embraer is an aircraft manufacturer. Okay. There are 3 aircraft manufacturers in the world. All of us know the first 2, right? Boeing and Airbus. And this is Embraer. Embraer is from which country? Brazil. Okay. And why they are giving a full page ad in Indian newspaper? What has got to do here if they are sitting in Brazil? So, just I have circled some items you can see here. See, what you see is they have actually tied up with Mahindra Aerospace. Okay. So, they are developing components in the aerospace industries, basically for defense application, right? They also have done lot of work with DRDO, right? So, there is lot of activities going on in Embraer, the aerospace, okay? So, we need to understand all these things. Mahindra Aerospace is just an unlisted subsidiary of Mahindra and Mahindra. Mahindra and Mahindra has got 100 plus subsidiaries. Okay, this is a small subsidiary. So you need to be aware, yeah, this is what it is. So ultimately, it is up to us what you want to do, whom do you want to benchmark, because most of the funds have a benchmark, right? If they don't have the right benchmark, they may not perform well. If they take a difficult benchmark, then they will do it very well. Okay. So you also need to have a proper benchmark. Anyone knows this person? Yeah, Vivek Chand Sehgal. He is the chairperson of Mothers and Sumi. Okay, not at company, correct. And this is what he has to say. When you benchmark with idiots, what will happen? You will be little better than the benchmark idiots, that's all. Okay? So, incidentally, Mothers and Sumi, if you had invested 1 lakh in 1993 IPO, today it is worth 60 crores. Okay? It has outperformed most of the auto companies, right? So this is not a recommendation, but just for information. So thank you. I end here. If there is any questions, I'll be glad to answer. No, there are plenty of cases. More than successful stocks, you must understand the most problematic stocks, okay, where you need to understand the difficulties. I remember about Yes Bank. All CEOs approval has to be done by RBI, right? This Rana Kapoor, his term was over and he was waiting for RBI's approval for extension, right? RBI gave an approval for 3 months, not 3 years. Okay. I sensed that there is something wrong, so I exited Yes Bank. Somewhere around 220 rupees or so. After that, the entire episode happened. So you must be able to, that is what I said, no, you must be able to read. You must be able to understand. Everybody saw the same news that Rana Kapoor getting 3 months extension from RBI. But nobody asked why not getting 3 years. If you had asked that question, then probably you would have saved. So there are a lot of things, information that is very available. But for identifying stocks and other things, there is a deeper understanding which is required. I do offer fundamental classes. Okay. So if people are interested, you can enroll. I can teach you how to look at stocks. Okay. Incidentally, last 3 months I am learning astrology. Okay. Anyhow, these two has nothing to do with that. But in astrology, whatever little I have learned, there are so many permutations and combinations. Okay. This planet is here, that planet is there. All the things நிறைய சொல்கிறாங்க, இந்த கேந்திரத்தில் இருக்குது, இந்த ஆட்சியில் இருக்குது, அப்புறம் வந்து இந்த யோகம், இந்த தோஷம் எல்லாம் சொல்கிறாங்க. பட் வந்து ஒரு பலன் சொல்கிறது வந்து ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். யூ ஹவ் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் ஆல் த திங். திதி, நட்சத்திரம், யோகம், கரணம், நாள் எல்லாம் பார்த்து நம்ம சொல்லணும். Similarly, when you want to identify a stock, there are plenty of parameters. What do you look at it? Is it PE, PEG, ROC, ROIC? What is the factor? And each thing will vary for different things. Especially in defense stocks, you must be very, very clear about how their working capital is. All companies are getting orders. There is a company called Data Patterns. The working capital cycle for Data Patterns is 2 years. If they sell 1 rupee to the government today, they have to wait 2 years to recover that. Okay. So it is not only about top line. Ultimately, it is all about cash. You plan for your investors, right? Retirement planning. Retirement planning is not about assets. Retirement planning is all about cash flow. So therefore, these are some of the things one needs to understand and then do that. It's a big subject. Okay. So for me, I'm a very long time investor. My stock holding is definitely not less than 5 years. I am holding stocks, some stocks for 23 years. Okay. So you must be able to have the conviction. Okay. Cash is nothing but conviction. Without seeing, it is ash. So if you don't have conviction, nothing works in the market. But you must read a lot. It's a beautiful, an information, knowledge available for us. The more and more you learn, the more and more you will individually be successful.